Malik Foster didn't park like someone trying to get away with something. He parked like someone who had learned, through repetition and exhaustion, that the world could turn ordinary actions into accusations if you looked like the wrong person doing them. So he did everything right. He checked the sign twice. He angled his car perfectly inside the white lines. He displayed the permit exactly where the building management told him to, hanging from the mirror, facing outward, the holographic seal catching the sun. Then he walked into his sister's apartment building with a bag of groceries and the kind of mood that comes from trying to be helpful on a tight schedule. Malik was 31, black, and the person his family called when they needed something handled quickly. His sister, Nia, had just had a baby 2 weeks ago. She was tired, overwhelmed, and stubbornly refusing help even as she clearly needed it. Malik had offered to bring groceries and pick up formula, and he'd made the run on his lunch break like it was a mission. The building, Cedar Ridge Lofts, sat in a polished downtown neighborhood where the sidewalks were clean and the buildings had names in brushed metal letters. The kind of place where people talked about community standards like it was morality. Malik didn't live there, but he had a visitor permit issued by the HOA, printed with a barcode and a big black number. Visitor permit number VI-18427. Nia had texted him earlier. Hang it on your mirror. You're good for 2 hours. They're strict. Malik had texted back. Already on it. He had even taken a quick photo of the permit hanging in his windshield, time-stamped, because he didn't trust strict to mean fair. He dropped the groceries at Nia's door, kissed his baby niece on the forehead, listened to Nia vent about sleep deprivation, and stayed longer than he planned because leaving a tired new mom alone felt wrong. When Malik finally returned to the street-level garage, he was thinking about whether Nia needed diapers too. Then he saw the yellow paper on his windshield, a bright, ugly rectangle screaming against his dark glass. Malik stopped walking. His stomach dropped. He approached the car slowly, as if speed might make the situation worse. He read the ticket through the windshield. Citation: parking violation. Reason: no valid permit displayed. Fine: $125. Malik stared at the line that mattered most. No valid permit displayed. His eyes snapped up to the mirror. The permit was still there, hanging exactly where it was supposed to hang. He opened his door carefully and pulled the ticket off the windshield. Stamped time: 1:42 p.m. Issued by Officer Number 312. Parking enforcement. Malik's jaw tightened. He looked around the garage. A white woman walked past him with a yoga mat, barely glancing his way. A white man in a blazer unlocked a Tesla and drove out without looking at anything. Malik felt the familiar heat rise, anger and disbelief braided together. He took his phone out and snapped a photo. Ticket plus permit visible in the same frame. Then he called the number on the back of the citation. A recorded voice said, "All representatives are busy. Your call is important to us." Malik pressed buttons anyway, got placed on hold, and listened to cheerful music that had no business playing in the middle of theft, disguised as policy. After 12 minutes, someone answered. "Parking services," a man said, bored. "Citation number." Malik read it off. Keyboard clicks. The man said, "Yeah, that's a valid ticket. No permit displayed." Malik blinked. "The permit is displayed. I'm standing in front of my car right now." The man sighed. "If the officer marked it as not displayed, then it wasn't displayed." Malik felt the anger spike. He forced it down, kept his voice calm. "That's not how reality works. The permit is hanging on the mirror." The man's voice sharpened slightly. "Sir, are you calling the officer a liar?" There it was again, the pivot. Verification becomes accusation. Malik took a slow breath. "I'm saying there's an error. I have a photo." "We don't accept photos," the man said immediately. Photos can be edited. Malik's jaw clenched. It's a time-stamped photo. Doesn't matter, the man said. You can appeal online. Malik's voice stayed controlled. How long does the appeal take? 2 to 4 weeks, the man replied. Malik stared. So I'm supposed to pay $125 now and hope you decide later I didn't deserve it. If you don't pay, it increases, the man said. Malik looked at the permit again. The bold number, the barcode, the hologram. A visitor permit issued by the building. A ticket claiming no permit. And a system designed so fighting it costs time and stress. So most people pay just to make the problem go away. Malik's voice dropped lower, calmer, sharper. I want you to verify the permit registry. A pause. The what? The permit registry, Malik repeated. Visitor permits are issued with numbers. They're in a registry. Confirm that permit number V-18427 was valid at 1:42 p.m. today. The man exhaled like Malik had asked for the moon. We don't have access to that. Malik's eyes narrowed. Parking enforcement does. Then talk to the building, the man said. Malik's jaw tightened. The ticket is from city parking enforcement, not the building. Still, the man said. Appeal it. Malik ended the call before his tone could slip. He stood beside his car, hand gripping the ticket hard enough to wrinkle it. The garage suddenly felt too quiet, like every camera and every pair of eyes existed to watch him, not to help him. He took out his phone again and opened the photo Nia had texted him earlier, the one she'd sent when she got the visitor permit, a screenshot of the building's visitor parking portal. It listed V-18427, active 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., Malik Foster, visitor. Malik's stomach tightened again. The permit was active. The registry proved it. Which meant the ticket wasn't just wrong, it was careless at best, or something else at worst. Malik walked toward the elevator lobby where a small office door had a sign, Parking Management. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, harder. A moment later, the door opened and a white man in a polo shirt appeared, frowning like Malik was an intrusion. He had a key ring clipped to his belt and a badge that read, Tom Whittaker, Garage Supervisor. Tom looked at Malik, then at the ticket in Malik's hand. Can I help you? Malik kept his voice calm. I was ticketed for no valid permit displayed. My visitor permit is displayed, and it's active in your registry. Tom's eyebrows lifted slightly. City enforcement, not us. Malik nodded. I know, but your registry is the source of whether this permit is valid. I need confirmation so I can get the ticket voided. Tom's mouth tightened. We don't control city tickets. Malik's voice stayed steady. But you can verify the permit. Tom looked at Malik for a beat, then glanced past him toward the garage like he was checking if Malik was alone. He said, Do you live here? Malik felt the question land heavy. I'm visiting my sister, Malik replied calmly. That's why it's a visitor permit. Tom's tone cooled. Visitor permits are often misused. Malik stared at him. This one isn't. Tom crossed his arms. How do I know? Malik held up his phone and showed the portal screenshot. Because the registry shows it active under my name. Tom barely glanced at the screen. Screenshots don't mean anything. Malik's jaw tightened. Then open your registry. Tom's eyes narrowed. We're not logging into private resident systems for every complaint. Malik took a slow breath. This isn't a complaint. It's a factual verification. Tom's face hardened. Sir, I can't help you. Malik stared, then nodded slowly. Okay, Malik said, voice calm as stone. Then I need the contact for the person who can, and I need it in writing that you refuse to verify the permit registry. Tom's eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me?" Malik didn't move. "Because I'm not paying a ticket for a permit that was valid and displayed. I need the registry verified." Tom's eyes flicked toward a hallway camera mounted above the door, then back to Malik. He looked irritated now, but also wary. "Fine," Tom said tightly. "Wait here." He stepped back inside and shut the door. Malik stood in the hallway, holding the ticket and feeling the familiar pressure building, the one that said, "Be calm, be polite, don't give them a reason to label you." He looked at the permit hanging in his car and felt his resolve lock into place. If the registry existed, the truth existed. And Malik wasn't leaving the garage until someone with access opened it and admitted what the system already knew. The permit was valid, the ticket was wrong, and "no permit displayed" was just the easiest lie to write on a piece of paper when you didn't feel like looking closely at who you were ticketing. Tom left Malik standing in the hallway, like Malik was a package that could be ignored until it stopped making noise. The door shut. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The security camera above the office entrance stared down at him with that cold, unblinking attention that never seemed to protect the people who needed protecting. Malik didn't pace. He didn't tap his foot. He stood still, ticket in one hand, phone in the other, breathing slow and controlled, because he knew impatience could be reframed as aggression, and he wasn't giving anyone that advantage. After 2 minutes, the door opened again. Tom stepped out with another man, white, older, late 50s, crisp button-down tucked into slacks, the kind of management look that came with the assumption that his voice ended conversations. His badge read, Paul Denver, property manager. Paul looked at Malik like Malik had already annoyed him. Tom spoke first, quickly, shaping the story. He's saying city enforcement ticketed him, even though he has a visitor permit. Paul's eyes narrowed. "City ticket, not our issue." Malik responded calmly before that line could become a wall. "I understand. But your visitor permit registry determines whether a permit number is valid at a specific time. I need that registry verified so I can get the citation voided." Paul's mouth tightened. "We don't get involved." Malik held his gaze. Verifying a number isn't getting involved. It's confirming a fact. Paul exhaled like Malik was asking him to do a favor, not his job. "Do you have the permit?" Malik nodded and pointed toward the garage. "It's hanging in the car. It was hanging when the ticket was issued. The ticket claims no valid permit displayed." Paul's eyebrows lifted slightly, skeptical. "And you're sure it was displayed?" Malik's voice stayed even. "Yes, and I photographed it with the ticket, time-stamped." Paul's eyes flicked to Tom. "You see?" Tom shrugged. "He's got screenshots." Paul looked back at Malik with a colder expression. "Screenshots can be edited." Malik nodded slowly. "Then open the registry." Paul stared, irritated now. "You're being very demanding." Malik didn't flinch. "Because the fine is $125. If I pay it, most people never fight it. That's the point. But I'm not paying for a violation I didn't commit." Paul's jaw tightened. "Sir, I'm trying to explain." Malik cut in gently, controlled. "No, you're trying to avoid. There's a difference." For a moment, Paul looked like he might escalate, raise his voice, call security, make Malik a problem. Instead, he said, "Tight. Fine. Let's look." Paul gestured toward the garage. Malik walked with them, not ahead, not behind, matching their pace. Calm, measured. He kept the ticket visible in his hand like a receipt for unfairness. They arrived at Malik's car. The yellow citation still clung to the windshield corner where Malik had tucked it back under the wiper. The visitor permit hung from the mirror, bright and obvious. Malik pointed to it. "Right there." Tom's eyes flicked to the permit, then away quickly like it embarrassed him. Paul leaned closer and squinted at the permit number. V-18427. Malik nodded. Yes. Paul straightened. That still doesn't prove it was valid. Malik held his gaze. That's why we checked the registry. Paul's mouth tightened, as if he hated that Malik kept returning to the same unbreakable logic. They walked back to the office. Paul unlocked the door with a keycard and led them inside. The office was small, 2 desks, a printer, a wall calendar. No warmth, just function. Paul sat at a computer and clicked into a resident management portal. Tom hovered behind him, arms crossed like a witness for the defense. Malik stood across the room, hands relaxed, eyes steady. Paul typed, then paused, then typed again. His face tightened. Malik felt his pulse pick up. Paul's cursor moved, searching. Then Paul's eyes narrowed, and he muttered, "Huh." Tom leaned in. "What?" Paul didn't answer immediately. He clicked into a details panel. Then he read, reluctantly, Visitor Permit V-18427. Active, 1200 to 200 p.m. under Nia Foster's unit. Visitor name, Malik Foster. Malik's chest loosened slightly. He kept his face calm. Paul stared at the screen longer, as if hoping it would change. Tom shifted uncomfortably. Malik spoke quietly. The ticket was issued at 1:42. Paul's jaw clenched. Yes. Malik kept his tone even, so it was valid. Paul didn't respond. Malik added, and it was displayed. Paul's eyes flicked up briefly, then back to the monitor. City enforcement sometimes doesn't recognize our permits. Malik's voice sharpened slightly. It's a city-approved permit system. They ticket based on whether the permit is valid. Paul's tone cooled. They ticket based on what they observe. Malik nodded slowly. Then the officer either didn't look or chose not to. Paul's eyes snapped up. Careful. Malik didn't move. I'm being factual. Paul exhaled sharply, then stood up like he needed to reclaim control through motion. All right, Paul said. We can print the registry entry. Malik nodded. I need that. Paul's fingers tapped at the keyboard again. The printer hummed and spit out a page. Paul tore it off and held it for a second, reading it like he didn't like what it said. Then he slid it across the desk toward Malik. Malik took it and scanned. It had the permit number, active time window, associated unit, and visitor name. Clean proof. Malik looked up. Thank you. Now I need contact info for city enforcement to void the ticket, and I need your written statement that the permit was valid at the time. Paul's eyebrows shot up. Written statement. Malik's voice stayed calm. A confirmation email, or a note on your letterhead. Anything that says what you just read. V-18427 was active at 1:42. Paul stared at him like Malik was pushing too far. Tom finally spoke, trying to make it smaller. You can just submit the printout. Malik looked at Tom. And they'll say it's fake, like you both did. Tom's mouth shut. Paul's cheeks flushed slightly. Paul said, clipped, Fine. I'll send an email from the property management account confirming it. Malik nodded once. Today, please. Paul typed quickly, irritated, then turned the monitor slightly so Malik could see the sent screen, not the content, just that it had been sent. Malik's phone buzzed a moment later. An email from Cedar Ridge Property Management. This email confirms that visitor permit V-18427 was active and valid from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. today and was issued for unit, redacted. Malik read it twice. Then he saved it. Then he forwarded it to himself, because he trusted paper and timestamps more than anyone's tone. Paul leaned back and said coldly, "Anything else?" Malik looked at him, calm. "Yes, I want the officer number who issued it, so I can reference it." Paul's eyes narrowed. "We don't track officer numbers." Malik held up the ticket. "It's printed here. Officer number 312. Paul's mouth tightened. He looked away, annoyed. Malik slid the ticket into his folder behind the registry printout. Then he said quietly, with controlled clarity, "This could have been fixed in 5 minutes if you just opened the registry when I asked." Paul's expression hardened. "We're done here." Malik nodded. "We are." He walked out of the office, past the hallway camera, back into the garage. The air felt different, lighter, because proof does that. It turns opinion into fact. It makes gaslighting harder. Malik stood beside his car and took one more photo. Permit hanging, ticket visible, timestamp on his phone screen. Then he got in, started the engine, and pulled out of the garage slowly. He wasn't just driving away with groceries delivered and family helped. He was driving away with something else, something he'd had to earn again and again in places built to deny it. A verified record, a registry printout, an email confirmation. The truth, finally forced onto paper, so nobody could pretend they didn't know next time.